We're going to begin a spiritual empowerment session where we will discuss every conceivable aspect of our presence for the rest of our life. With great confidence, you'll have daily inspiration. In fact, every millisecond, you'll know something, you'll see something, you'll be aware of something beyond this whole world. You won't live in fear anymore whatsoever. And you'll know when it's projected at you for whatever reason that it's a very simple, minute force that has nothing behind it. There's the saying that if you look Satan in the eye, he will flee from you. In other words, the world is fear-based, all the consciousness of the world. And we've been coming here through family structures. Sometimes, like my friend Peter, he had something bad in his family, and he asked me as a clairvoyant and a teacher, he said, what was happening? And I said, over the last 400 years, you had a certain being in your family presence. You know, you're bored. There's two people there's somebody in your life that you love more than you can ever dream you will die for. You just cannot believe it. You don't always marry that person. Most of the time you don't, but when you do, you know that involved with this timeless presence of our spirit, we're trying to meet people that are corralled into believing they're a body in a lifetime. We're trying to meet them in a way to help teach them that this is an aspect of eternity that has nothing to do with God, if we can conceive that. The world is a lost atmosphere. Every moment for the rest of your life after this empowerment, not that you haven't before, but that's what an empowerment does and reignites in your atmosphere, is the fact that there is a God, there is a spiritual expression of the universe that you are. And so today we'll go through all the ramparts, all the different ways the dark force sets you up to make you believe you are your body. I talked about true love. It's because that's the person that maybe if you're going to have children and have the children incarnate through this family structure for some hundreds or 1,000 years or 50 years, that person you love, that true love, will be an aspect of eternity, of God, of divinity. Not that that person you love and you yourself are less than what God is ever. But when you're an illumined soul, you're here to, in the Orient they would call you a bodhisattva. You're someone who won't accept your divinity until everyone in the world is of a similar nature. So you're here to teach, to inspire, to correct, to heal, to build, to educate, to care for, to back up, to influence in the most subtle as well as direct ways. Their spiritual faith in one God, one eternity, one happiness. It's a presence that super penetrates every atom, every structure of your cell. But there are no atoms or structure of a cell, and there's no time or space or distance. There's nothing about the world that seems to be that God is, that you are. To make it very clear, the world is fear-based. It is an aspect of eternity that doesn't truly exist. All spiritual experience, you'll feel an endless, infinite purity and wonderment. And you'll understand everything there ever could be every moment for the rest of your life. It will keep coming to you and coming to you. You'll see through it. Right now, I see everything, but the infinity of God, the infinity of you and I as one presence. So there's nothing to fear. You don't have to vacate the land and run from the enemy. You can stand your ground in the most pure sense, because your ground is the sky, is God, is your own spiritual presence. It's beautiful, it's kind, it's true, and it's of a indestructible nature. So in this movement forward of ours, in this spiritual empowerment hour, we're going to understand how we can move through all of the madness of this world. And it is a mad, mad world, right? With great confidence and faith, because you're going to experience the endless purity of godliness within you that you always experience, that is God, that is you. The universe is a person. It's a human presence. Like we're made in the likeness of God. It's a spiritual presence. God is a spirit. God is all spirit, as are you. There's no fear, no trepidation, not a trillionth of a hairline of impurity in this consciousness, and you will feel it for the rest of your life. You will be it. You are it. And you let go of the entirety of it for a moment to be birthed here. That's why I talked about family structure, and sometimes it can take hundreds of years to set up a certain individual case where St. John or St. John the Baptist, or, where people worship the God of Abraham. These are mystics out in the desert that had the same experiences that the great Buddhist monks and nuns and saints would feel, that you feel, that you are, that you will always be. They say, render unto Caesar the things that are Caesar's, but you don't have to do that even. When you get very quiet, your life will work. You'll see through the madness. At the very end of it, during these times, you'll be given great power, unimaginable. But it's not with a stick, it's with a purity of comprehension, of consciousness. My buddy doing the camera work, he's a 10th degree martial artist, so he doesn't tremble at anything physical. It's just not there. He won't tremble at anything in perception. When you're here, and you are here, this is the real you, beyond what seems to be. You are a spiritual presence. You'll understand the history of this world, of your own nation, your family, and you'll understand all you've gone through, and this is the main point of the spiritual empowerment session today, is that everything that ever went wrong in your life, that surfaced from this and that and confusion or hurt or pain, you have been set up at birth. That's the meaning of the Garden of Eden. If you read the scripture aright, you'll see that. You'll see that it's not about just two bodies. It could be that, because as soon as it's physical, then it's the devil. But the one you love, the true love in your heart and soul, which the love we have for our mom remains in godliness. So if you understand that just being here, you volunteer to a hazardous duty, to drop in the middle of what this hell is and live through it and walk through it and carry the baggage of all your friends and loves with you out of this madness. And again, it's in perception. If you're very quiet. I know when I've given spiritual empowerment sessions for the last 60 years, it's just very easy. I speak to someone, I first allow them to let go of their case, to speak to, I ask them to go back and this time or that time and from their childhood, and it's all count back from 100 to 90, and so, or I'll just say you're going to be at the point of birth now, or five years before, and you'll let me know what you see, what you feel, and it always occurs. In other words, you have spiritual confidence. When you are empowered spiritually, there are no walls. There's this simple purity of presence with you always. And that's the point of today's session, is that it's indestructible. Steel will melt, bend. Atoms don't exist in the soul. Time never was. Albert Einstein said, and he was a great mystic, first of all, said that time is merely a very persistent illusion. And he meant that in both senses, but spiritual and physical, metaphysical and physical. There is no time or circumstance, no distance. There aren't bodies. If I feel my teacher Kathleen, it's like I'm in such awe, and so the world doesn't exist. I wouldn't let it exist to hurt her or my mom or any of my great teachers or friends or you. And we all feel this way. We can fold the whole thing up as though it never were, never was, never could be, because it's not, it isn't, it can't be. I know when I sat with my friends, the lamas in Tibet 50 years ago, whatever more, is you go in a room with these guys and in the middle of warfare and you sit down and there was no one there. It's just hard to explain. But it's easy to understand if you can let go of all your fear, all your concern. It's not about your bank account or the present social political atmosphere of the entire world, which is obviously falling apart. And at the very end of an episode. But it's the same episode. It's fear-based and it's coming at you. And you can walk through it all, you'll walk through it all by sitting quietly, alone in your room. And you'll hear the voice, and you'll see the light. And your voice will be the light that will light the whole world, from time to timelessness, from birth and death and decay to godliness. You're on a great mission for your family, your friends, your loved ones, those that you truly believe in, and all living things, the life that's in all living things. That is your presence. So when you let go in the meditation, you become this purity and presence, this love light. That's why I talk about love, your mom, your love of your life. Think of your kitten. My dear friend who helped me with this work, she has a kitten that's just, you have to be very still around. It's very nice to have that kind of love, a friend like that in your life. You will be that friend for all the good people in your life from this moment on, not because of my words, but because you know it to be true. You know it's why you are, it's what you are, it's who you are. You'll achieve more than greatness. You'll imbue with everything and everyone you love with a beauty beyond the temporal, beyond time. It's a timeless purity and beauty, like you have for your mom again. It's just something that there is nothing else. And you are the presence in your mom's heart and soul. You are godliness and goodness and purity. So whenever you sit quietly, you're walking down the street, whatever you're doing, you'll imbue everything with this purity, this lightness, this presence that is God. And you'll understand the temporal nature of this world in time is a lie. It happened somehow. I have to say it very clearly. There's an infinity of spiritual expression that all of us that are spiritual feel all the time. And this world is as nothing. It's infinitely smaller than the smallest atom, the subatomic particle, and in spiritual experience you'll always experience infinity. So the solidity of things won't be for you. You look right through everything always. And that's why spiritual people are off alone, seated quietly, or amongst us, moving quietly, sitting quietly, caring quietly, but completely, until every lost soul is found. And the time for that is within reach, within you, within now, this timeless moment where you begin your mission, which is to inspire, uplift, heal, correct, teach, protect all decent people with this power, with these gifts that will flow from your heart so lightly, so givingly, so wondrously. Your heart is God. There is no other God. God of Abraham is your heart, is your mind, your soul. Your perception will soften and you'll feel this presence that all the many, many spiritual people I've known in my life feel always. And you can't express it. Yet, now you have to express the inexpressible. You'll be feeling everything that God is at the same time, all the creepy crawly things coming at you in the world, all the threats, all the violence, the vileness, the idiots that believe anything and everything. And it's all fear-based and hate and all. The body doesn't exist, so they're angry at this person, that person, and the spiritual person looks right through it all. Please understand this. These are not words. This is the truth. The love in your heart is the truth. From this moment on, you'll let go of everything other than the kindness of your intention. And everything will soften, lighten. And you'll be very, very, very powerful. You have to know this with spirituality. It's just not sitting off in the distance. That's why my buddies here, Greg or Andrei Sukumtal, the UFC fighter, is my buddy. They use this room to train fighters all day and night. And my sensei, Pedro Mink, the Brazilian champion, he teaches here in the big room next door with the mat. We're all here. And Gerber, the great. We're in the middle of a great big gym with hundreds of people, and somehow it's noisy here and sometimes it's not. The point is, wherever you are, God is. For the rest of time and eternity, wherever you are, God is. You are God's presence. You're not to be toyed with. When any little thing comes at you, you'll understand it might be 2 hours later or that moment, and you'll step through it in perception. That's the war. You'll understand all the gifts, not that you've been given, but that you are the gift. You are God's gift to this, the last generation. And I say that lightly and humorously. It's not a big deal. You'll study, you'll understand the history of this world and nature, whatever, but just so you can communicate to people, because you are a spiritual teacher. That's why you're here. And all that's in you will be loosed. You will open up to your gifts overnight. I myself wrote 2 books about this, Island of Hearts and After Time. And they'll cover every possible detail of this in a very beautiful way. You can read them out loud. There's a lot of poetry involved. And so you can own this time and space and then change it to your own words. And I'm saying that there are hundreds of books, thousands that I love, that are mystical, spiritual. I just put everything in it that if you want to understand the Bible, you read Islands of Hearts. You don't have to read the Bible, you'll get exactly what is necessary for this time in your life, and it's yours, and you'll recognize every word as yours. We're one presence. Like my friend asked me about his life and his family for 400 years. There was a certain dark being got in the middle of it. And then have other people that have great beauty in their family, and it's all the same thing. It's all, we're coming at this from a million directions to end it. It's everyone is, what's the opposite of starstruck? They're born here, they can't believe it. What is this? I know I've had this enlightenment experience always, whatever you want to call it, and I can never believe anything that's happening around me. And the insipid nature of most people is just, they're completely unaware of God. How could that be? I don't even understand it, but I do understand it completely, which allows me to sit quietly with people, to give them sessions, or I can do deep sessions, whatever you want to call it, but because you're very quiet, you can handle anything, you can direct anything, you can correct anything in consciousness. You are a spiritual teacher. It's not that you're gifted, you have every gift. And they'll open up within you from this moment forward, won't they? Because you care, don't you? Because you need this to happen, don't you? Because you're going to make it happen, aren't you? You're born to spiritual greatness. You will illumine the atmosphere in and through your heart and soul, and it will move so lightly out into the hearts and souls of all that you love and care for. You are a most holy person, born at a most holy time. You will fulfill your spiritual destiny. I'm saying this with great joy and happiness because it's a happy time. Oh, happy day. You will overcome the dark one without half trying. It's all in perception. These gifts will come through you. I wore this shirt for my friend John the Divine, who would walk with me to school when I was 5 years old, and he'd leave all these fresh new quarters in the grass on the way in South Philly to school, going off alone all in the morning. I never understood anything, and I, to this day, don't. At the same time, I understand everything and communicate everything to anyone in any way. But as a 5-year-old walking with all that innocence, it's what it is. And this is when you'll see John's presence, St. John, you'll see little flashes of light around you from here on in. And we all have at different points, and that will be his presence. You'll see it for a millisecond, and you can't believe it, and then you look, you can't, because it happens outside of time, and then you'll see John the Baptist in a purple kind of light. It's more a warriorship type thing, and then you'll see your own light, which is the light that lighteth every man that cometh into the world. We are all subparticles of one presence. We can call it God. You are a spiritual teacher. Please pick up one of those books, read it, or anything, or maybe you know more than I know right now. Do it, and give this faith, this fearless purity of intent to protect everyone you love. We're quite tired of watching good people go down, aren't we? We're not going to take it anymore, are we? And we do it through this flash of divine presence that you are. This world is nothing. Satan, the dark force, the evil, the armies of the dark ones, the violent bastards, it's the end. Of fear and terror and pain and trauma. It's in the quiet that you'll find me, that you'll find him, that you'll know who you are. You are a spiritual teacher. Fear nobody. You'll disappear into the light. You call it the light because it's just the air is infused with this lightness. And that's your real body. So look what this devilish force has done to you, to me, to him, to her, to them. The cute little animals in the forest, they're made to think they're a body in time and a place. And that's the idea of Satan, the idea of separateness. Somehow in infinity this. Had that it happened. And so we're the divine army of spiritual presence with all these gifts. You are a spiritual teacher. You'll teach this to people. And the gifts will simply be there for you. You don't have to do anything or go anywhere. It will happen. It will happen. It will happen. It's just your time. It's always been your time. It will always be your timelessness that will open the hearts and souls of all decent people. There is no fear. You're highly trained because you knew all these things before you were born. And this is just a simple reminder. You are the light that was to come. You are this presence. You will fulfill your spiritual destiny. This light will move very quietly through you to the whole world forever. The world will cease to exist through your influence. You are a spiritual teacher. You don't have to go anywhere, learn anything, or do anything. It will be coming to you, and we're dealing directly with Godness. You're reuniting with what you are. You gave yourself to be here to understand it, so you can use the words and the concepts of what this seems to be to communicate to others, to be the spiritual teacher that you are. Look how great a soul you are. You allowed yourself to be born into hell to understand it, to free those that are desirous of freedom and kindness and care. You're born to give gifts unto men, and that you will do. You'll undo all the hard and fastness of perception with kindness. You'll have a fearless sense in your heart. That fearless sense is you. That fearless sense is God, is you. You are a spiritual teacher. Teach, give, provide, sanctuary, protect through this gift. And everyone's at a different place, so you'll find a way to communicate. And you can sit quietly. In the beginning, you sit quietly, and I'll think of my teacher, my mom, and this, of 100 people that I've met in my life, or know, maybe 10. I'm alone always, but I will give myself to them fully, and they'll feel me, and that's how we're going to reunite with them. Do you understand? I can feel my teacher, Kathleen, or my dear friend Susan, who put together one of these books after time, and we're all friends and family in the deepest, deepest spiritual sense. It's nothing to do with the world around us and all of its political and social renderings of stupidity and this side and that side. There is something without size or shape or duration. It's the timeless in us all. The wise call it God. I call it you. Isn't it you? Isn't it time? Isn't it enough? And the obviousness of the answer is your heart that bleeds for rightness and truth and kindness and love and happiness. That's the godness within you that you had to restrict in order to understand what's here. Free your mind and the rest will follow. You are a spiritual teacher. How great you are that you allowed all this to collapse in upon you through that aperture called birth, and we have all this conditioning from then. So sit quietly and just, it's so easy. It's easier than so easy. Allow all of your conditioning, all of your conditioned experience, all the episodes of your life that were horrible or good or bad, and allow it to go. It is that easy. It's a little easier than that. When you see him, the only God, and know him, the only God, you are a spiritual teacher. Some would be wearing light blue or purple or green or orange, or my buddies here like Andrei Sukumkala, my teacher, the UFC guy, would say that with great love because he's the most spiritual person I've ever known. There's something between us I can't explain, because he's like one of the mountain people that I knew in Asia that are so, they were like an animal. You know what I mean? As far as their ability to circumnavigate the jungles, the trees, the mountains, the rivers. They're such powerful warriors, and at the same time, as a tribal sense, you live that out to protect your family. So it can be, so it's that same tribal sense around the world. I had it in Philadelphia, my dad, the cop, and my mom, or my teacher, or my buddy Greg here, and of course my master teacher, Pedro Menk, is unimaginable influence in my life. Spiritually. It has nothing to do with fighting, but everything to do with fighting through all the perception of the world, where there's fearlessness. So when he rolls with his dozens of kids, or Greg here, whatever, there's a happiness and a joy, because we're fighting through our own perception of there being a solid world, because we're meeting each other's courage, with rightness, and it's clean and it's safe and it's disciplined. It's not fighting at a bar on a Friday night. No, it's infinite opposite of that. It's helping each other let go of your fears. Now, you can do it in your church, if we still have one that's a church, or your synagogue, or your temple, or whatever it is. I prefer to sit quietly alone. Because I'm not alone. You'll never be alone. You are a spiritual teacher. You don't have to go anywhere or know anything or learn anything. It will start coming through you, and the circumstances will arise. You've set it up. You have set it up already by volunteering for this mission and understanding all the stuff that's tried to squash you, make you think you're a body in a world. That's the whole thing. Let go of that conditioning, and you are a presence. And the presence that you are is the presence of Almighty, everlasting, infinite God, our Father and our friend, and our self and our soul. It's a presence, it's a purity. You are beyond the stars now. You'll feel it, you'll carry it, you'll give it, you'll provide it. You are the light that was to come. You are the teacher. You're the instrument. You're the Holy One. You're the Father of lights. And the giver. And the caretaker and the teaching influence and the purity and the beauty forever. You'll be taught of God directly as you live with God directly. And you are that, if you can contain that. God is in the giving, the caring, the nurturing, the providing sanctuary for all the innocents around you. You'll do it in your heart. You don't have to carry a stick. If you're completely fearless inside, if you look the devil in the eye, he will flee from you. The devil fears one righteous person more than 1,000 blind believers. We see that in the streets today. The blind believers. They don't see you. I know they don't see me. And that's their mistake. If they want the devil, they can have it. If they won't harm another innocent on my watch. So in the beginning, you'll see the little lights, the flashes, the presence, holy ones. You'll see your grandmom in a vision or a dream. It will keep happening and happening around the clock until you open up to infinity, which is God, which is you. You are a pure, innocent soul, intentionally born into this hell to understand it and then end it. You are the spiritual teacher, the healer, the caretaker, the protector, the warrior, the saint. From time to time, the savage, the divine savage. In protecting the innocent and the kind and the true. There's nothing weak about you. Let go of fear, look it in the eye. Everything is in perception. You are a spiritual teacher. Use your gifts wisely, quietly, contentedly. In other words, you don't have to get all revved up about this. You simply have to drop deeply in your stance. And you'll find God there. Wherever you are, God is. Thank you. You will fulfill your spiritual destiny. Your kindness is the presence of heaven in this world. It's not to be trifled with. Thank you for listening. God bless your mission.